I'm making the point that Gavin Newsom is losing this argument. How would I say that? Why would I deduce that? How would I come up with such a thing? Well, listen to the folks on CNN and what they highlighted with this chart. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, if we just take a look at the baseline numbers here, this is Trump's net approval rating on immigration, gone up like a rocket.
Did you hear that, Governor Newsom? Did you hear that? I know you're about to leave office soon. I get that. But did you just hear that? America is with Donald Trump. America is with the GOP on this issue, okay? He's gaining traction.
Stephen A. Smith just dropped a shocking explanation for why California under Governor Gavin Newsom seems to be going crazy. And honestly, it's not what most people think. While the news keeps talking about high taxes and big companies leaving the state, there's a bigger hidden problem quietly shaking Newsom's control. The real reason California is in chaos today might surprise you.
Gavin Newsom's talking about potentially running for the president. Actually, he's not talking about it. He's trying to avoid talking about it, but we all know what he's doing because he has to leave the gubernatorial seat 2026. The governor's seat is 2026. We know what he wants. You gonna pull it off with the record that took place in California all of these years under your stewardship? It's nice to see him sticking his chest out and going off. You think they don't have clips of how you embrace extreme leftist policies during the whole woke movement and cancel culture and everything else? You think they don't have those clips? You think they didn't see people getting arrested and let out of jail the same day?
Stephen A. Smith pointed out the first big issue that could hurt Newsom's chances if he wants to run for president, his very strong push for progressive or woke policies. According to Stephen, Newsom's support for these ideas hasn't just upset some voters. It's become a reason why California feels like it's falling apart. From big changes in schools to openly supporting controversial social movements, Newsom has caused constant arguments and more people are pushing back online. Lots of videos now show the governor promoting these ideas, sometimes putting ideology ahead of practical solutions. Stephen says it's not the progressive ideas themselves that are the problem, but how Newsom handles them. Many regular Californians feel disconnected because they're facing higher taxes, crazy housing prices, and crumbling roads and bridges. This woke approach, Stephen warns, could hurt not just California, but Newsom's chances if he wants to go national.
You think they don't have footage of crime ravaging the streets of Los Angeles or homelessness? You think they don't know about the cost of living and how it's the highest in this republic right now? Let's talk. Let's talk.
Stephen A. didn't stop there. He explained more reasons why California seems to be struggling under Newsom. The first is the massive homelessness problem in big cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco. Stephen says the streets are full of people trying to survive, while the state's help feels slow, weak, and stuck in red tape. The second big problem is the super high cost of living. Housing prices, heavy taxes, and strict rules have made it really hard for middle-class families and even businesses to stay in California. All these issues together, homelessness, expensive living, and tough business conditions create a perfect storm. Stephen warns that without real changes, California could keep getting worse fast.
I don't pretend to know. I'm just an American citizen and a conscientious observer that's able to read and deduce what the hell is happening to some degree. I don't have all the answers, but damn it, the people who do, what good are you if all you're going to do is spew vitriol and alienate one side with 77 million voters that are going to look at him and embrace the victim or the victimhood that he's embracing? How do you serve to convince them to swing your way? Because somebody needs to. How are you going to convince people to go to the polls?
Another reason California and the Democratic Party is having trouble is their refusal to talk to Republicans or seriously consider other opinions. Even though California is mostly Democratic, that doesn't mean leaders should ignore voters with different views. Stephen A. Smith says this lack of discussion is making the political divide bigger and leaving millions of people feeling ignored. By refusing to listen to Republican ideas, policies often miss the real problems people face every day. This strategy also makes other issues worse, like housing shortages, taxes, and business rules. Many people now feel California's leaders are out of touch. Stephen says if Democrats don't start finding common ground, both the state and their party could face long-term problems.
On this particular issue, as it involves migrants, immigrants, those who are undocumented, dare we say illegal, in the United States of America, he's winning on this issue. There's a reason he won a popular vote. There's a reason he won the Electoral College vote. There's a reason he won every swing state. There are people within the United States of America that want our immigration crisis addressed. and want the situation resolved somehow, some way. And the person that seems eager to bring a resolution to the table is President Donald Trump.
Another big problem is Newsom's refusal to work with former President Donald Trump on California's immigration issues. Stephen A. Smith points out that immigration affects safety, jobs, and public services, but Newsom has often blocked Trump-backed solutions. News stories show that he has limited cooperation with federal authorities and expanded sanctuary policies, which some critics say encourage illegal immigration. Because of this, communities face crowded schools, housing shortages, and stressed services. By choosing politics over solutions, Stephen warns Newsom risks making California's problems worse and losing people's trust.
Because they may say, we had a bipartisan agreement when Joe Biden was in office that Donald Trump convinced the GOP to nix because he wanted to use it as an issue to favor him during the election. Well, damn it, it worked. It worked. And I got news for you, Governor Newsom. It's working now. But before I go any further to elaborate on this issue, let's hear from Donald Trump himself. Let's see how he feels about the state of California and what's been going on under Governor Newsom's regime. Check out the president.
I like Gavin Newsom. He's a nice guy, but he's grossly incompetent. Everybody knows. All you have to do is look at the little railroad he's building. It's about 100 times over budget. We're putting a flagpole over there. Under budget. I always do under budget.
Another threat to Newsom's future is the high-speed rail project he keeps supporting. It was supposed to show California as innovative and moving forward, but it's become a classic example of government mistakes and wasted billions. Stephen A. Smith says the project is stuck, delayed, over budget, and trapped in bureaucratic problems. What was promised to take 10 years is still not finished, and costs keep rising far beyond what voters were told. Critics say this shows Newsom is out of touch with reality and everyday struggles. From communities stuck waiting to taxpayers getting frustrated, the rail project is now a symbol of failure. Stephen warns that unless Newsom fixes this and earns back public trust, it could hurt his credibility and political future.
Based off of what Donald Trump said, I'm making the point that Gavin Newsom is losing this argument. How would I say that? Why would I deduce that? How would I come up with such a thing? Well, listen to the folks on CNN and what they highlighted with this chart. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, if we just take a look at the baseline numbers here, this is Trump's net approval rating on immigration, gone up like a rocket. Compare now versus 8 years ago during Trump's first term. Look at this. In his first term, Trump was way underwater at minus 21 points. But look at this. He's up over 20 points. Now in the aggregate, he is in positive territory at plus 1 point on his net approval rating. Some other polls even have it a little bit higher than that. There is no issue on which Trump is doing so much better than he was in his first term, more than the issue of immigration.
Stephen A. Smith also explains how Newsom is losing trust on immigration compared to Trump. While Trump is praised for a strong border stance, Newsom has done the opposite, blocking federal immigration efforts and expanding sanctuary policies. More and more voters see this as blocking progress instead of leading. Crowded classrooms, strained services, and stretched resources make people feel his decisions cause problems instead of solving them. Stephen warns this could hurt Newsom politically, making him look ineffective and out of touch, which could hurt any national ambitions.
But there is a deep state, which is the bureaucratic class that justifies its existence by making up new rules, and that's my job. It's the vast network of regulators, administrators, inspectors, contract reviewers, project managers, fee assessors, special commissioners, zoning officers, and consultants whose jobs seem to be to make sure nothing ever happens and then charge you for it.
Bill Maher adds his thoughts, saying bureaucracy is a huge reason California is struggling. He points out that the state is buried in red tape, making even small projects painfully slow and expensive. Permits take years, approvals need navigating through many agencies, and by the time work gets done, millions of taxpayer dollars are gone. Maher says this system wastes money, kills momentum, and stops new ideas. Whether it's housing, roads, or helping the homeless, projects get stuck in paperwork. For everyday people, this means frustration and slow progress. Maher believes that until California reduces red tape and enforces accountability, real change will stay out of reach.
Semaphore estimates that if the red tape could be cut on everything that's currently stuck in the renewable queue, the United States would be 80% zero carbon in 7 years. The enemy to clean air isn't just big oil, it's big permitting. It's not that America isn't able to get anything done, it's that we're not allowed to. Of course, there should be consideration of the environment on everything we build. But as so often happens on the left, they seem to have no ability to recognize when they've taken a concept way too far and are in fact hurting their own cause. America's become Gulliver, the giant that got tied down with 1,000 tiny ropes by Lilliputians, the horde of little people who do big damage.
Maher continues, saying California's progress is blocked by mountains of paperwork. He clarifies that rules are needed, but the problem is when bureaucracy grows too much and stops development. Projects that should take months drag on for years because approvals are stuck in endless forms and reviews. Maher says this makes California a place where ambition is punished and efficiency is nearly impossible. From housing to infrastructure, nothing moves forward while officials shuffle papers. Until California balances rules with action, Maher warns the state will keep falling behind, frustrating taxpayers and making people and businesses leave.
As Barack Obama once said, one of the biggest lessons he learned as president was there is no such thing as shovel-ready projects. Environmental impact statements used to be a few pages long. Now they're thousands of pages of legalistic nonsense and take an average of 4.5 years to complete, with thousands of bureaucrats filling out millions of paper forms that kill hundreds of forests to answer the question, is this good for the environment?
In the end, Stephen A. Smith and Bill Maher reached the same conclusion. California's problems are not just small mistakes, but signs of bigger leadership and system failures. From woke politics and expensive living to homelessness, immigration fights, and huge bureaucracy, the state seems trapped in a cycle of problems. Newsom's refusal to compromise, work across parties, or cut through red tape makes people frustrated. Projects stall, taxes rise, businesses leave, and ordinary Californians pay the price. These failures also threaten Newsom's national ambitions, putting California in the spotlight. As Maher warns and Stephen emphasizes, voters are tired of politics that focus on appearances over results. Without serious, practical, and accountable changes, California could keep declining, becoming a warning story instead of a model of progress. That's all for today's video. If you liked it, hit the like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching and see you next time.